and dried, you should remove them from the unhatched eggs in case they are late bloomers, but discard the eggs after they've not hatched for 48 hours. This thing has been sitting in my inventory for the last, I don't know, since June, so you can do the math there, but either way, just be sure to click the video on...
Really? Are you actually kidding me? Oh well, I'm just gonna go to bed for 3 weeks, that way I can see the next part, okay? I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead to bed real quick, yo, I can't wait. Can't wait to wake up on 11/11/2023, bro. Alrighty, I'm gonna wake up after getting 504 hours of sleep. Let me go get my coffee. Oh wait, today's the day that the brand new duck video releases. Oh my god, can this countdown just go any faster? Like, come on, why? Can this thing just go any faster, bro? Come on, I just wanna, I don't wanna see it, come on, bro. There we go. Welcome to the final part of this trilogy. Well, today we're gonna be talking about some common questions that duck owners bring up, and I'm gonna answer them. Our goal is to answer as many questions as possible, without doing a part 2, obviously. If you have any other questions, be sure to comment them in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to them in a timely manner as long as I'm not in classes. Anyways, let's begin. So can you keep your chickens with your ducks? Well, the simple answer is yes. The more complicated answer is, yeah, you can. Except, here's a couple of ground rules. Monitor the ducks at all costs. Unless, of course, you want to have your chickens losing feathers, as integrating them into the pecking order is a little bit difficult. Over time, they'll eventually end up settling their differences. However, before doing that, they will have to fight in the corner. And there will be a lot of fighting, a lot of feather stripping. It'll just be not really a fun time for your chicken flocks. You gotta understand that and keep them in check. As maybe you could be seeing some chickens losing their feathers, probably also some chickens losing maybe even other portions as well, so make sure that your chickens are as safe as they could possibly be, while also making sure the ducks are also as safe as they could possibly be, as they will think they're the greatest, even though they're probably not. Should I really explain this one? Well, I guess fine. I mean, we have to make it to the 8 minutes, okay? Alright, so basically, ducks cannot fly unless you buy a breed like a mallard or some form of a wild duck breed, then yes, they will be able to fly. Unlike chickens, some breeds can fly. Most of them, however, won't even dare to glide like chickens will. They can't really jump, so that's why you don't really have to include a roosting bar with most ducks that are tamed and all that whatnot. So make sure that you know what breed of duck can fly or not, so that way you know if you need to add sort of an overhang or if you need to clip their wings. So keep their wings clipped if you're concerned about that, though. So how often should you be cleaning your duck coop? That's a question that you probably asked before, and I'm going to explain to you right now how often you should be cleaning that duck coop for. Usually you want to clean the duck coop about two times a week if you do it properly. However, if you don't do it properly, you may end up cleaning it more than twice a week. You see, you don't want to include the food and water in the coop at night. That's a fatal mistake. Even with chickens, that'll help reduce the amount of times you have to clean it per week, probably from about once a day, sometimes even twice a day, all the way down to just a couple times a week. Obviously, you want to leave the water and food outside of the coops, that way they have free access to it. But they don't need it at the nighttime. As long as you install an automatic coop door, this will make things a whole lot easier on the ducks. So I'd 100% recommend using something like this. And we don't even have to, when we used to have ducks, we only ended up cleaning it right towards the end of their life, around 2 times a week, which is something you don't usually, which is a number most duck owners would dream to see, even with just a couple ducks like we had. That's a number that most duck owners would only dream of ever seeing. Well, here we are again, asking if ducks are loud. Depends, really. They're not really as loud as chickens might be, especially if they're making a lot of sound, although if they find something that disturbs them a little bit, they will definitely be making as much sound as possible to notify you or anyone else around them that could possibly give them the help. Fortunately, however, this is very uncommon, so for the most part, you'll be living the life not having to hear a whole lot of sound, although just be aware that sometimes ducks do make random sounds for absolutely no reason, and they will sometimes enjoy mocking you. So if you hear a lot of noise and you seem to be mocked by the duck, don't worry, you're not alone. My Rowan duck used to do that to everyone that passed by, and I bet she's still doing that now, even though she's not alive and with us anymore, though. So make sure that you're keeping track of the noise if you really need to, but for the most part, they're not going to be as noisy as the roosters will be, so now your neighbor won't be able to throw a 12-pack of bricks through your window, which is quite sad for them, I guess. Well, a lot of people ask, what is the best breed of duck that you could ever get? And my response is, well, it depends on which way you look at it. And a lot of people don't like that response because they're like, yo, I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'll tell you what you're looking at, trust me. If you're looking for eggs, the khaki Campbells are the right one to choose. They lay plenty of eggs, and they're pretty friendly as well. And if you're looking for the overall experience, I'd recommend a Rowan or a Cayuga. Typically, Rowans are definitely better around bigger families. The Cayugas are better for someone that's going to be, like, not really going to them as much as they would for, like, others, but they're still pretty friendly as long as you raise them right. But some of them just choose to be flighty, and that's sort of the duck's choice. Or the Peking, which is basically the duck that lays all the eggs. I'd also recommend them for egg production. If you're looking for more just like a hatching ones, then some pretty cool ones that you could try out are Indian runner ducks, as a lot of people really want them. Demand is pretty high, and they look pretty cool, and they have pretty big necks. That's one thing that's really cool about those ducks. So how long are your ducks going to last for? That's a question that, well, this is pretty important to know, especially if you want to raise your ducks, you want them to live a full life, so you know how many years they get to live. If we're looking at a chicken, obviously, they live, for the most part, I'd say if you're looking at production layer, around 3 years is typically what you'd expect to get out. If you're looking at more of a pet flock experience, then I'd expect probably about 4 to 8 years out of a chicken. Out of a duck, however, egg-laying ducks, instead of living just 3 years, you'll probably get a good 4 to 7 years out of an egg-layer duck. If we're talking about other ducks, however, they can live for 8 to 13 years, so they are pretty old ducks if they can get that far. Obviously, though, for my ducks, they got up to around 2 years. Just about 3 for what the duck before, unfortunately, the unfortunate fate of my backyard coyotes came in and wiped out the last one, and the backyard fox, of course. You know, they both suck, okay? Three videos later, we're finally on to the last question that will ever be made about any of my ducks, as I'm finally concluding the series. Are ducks really worth it? You really just need to take a look at my experience with them, so we can finally conclude this answer to the hypothesis. Really, when you take a look at it, we need to go back a little bit. As ducklings, they are very messy, as you'd expect with most baby animals. As they got older, they got a bit more responsible, but once they found out about the fact that water can be in there, they didn't really enjoy it. We didn't really enjoy cleaning it that much. They enjoyed it a lot, though. Once they moved outside, however, it would be a little bit less work, as the duck coop didn't really have a lot of water in it, but for about 6 months of living in the duck coop, they did have water, so cleaning it just about every other day was something that ended up having to happen. As we got closer towards the end of the life, however, they got a lot less messy. We provided them with a pool outside that they'd either drink out of because they are too lazy to go to the waterer, or they'd just end up, swimming in it for a little while and making the water brown for absolutely no reason whatsoever, but to make sure it gets cleaned more often. And we'd only include that in the summer months as sort of a package for the ducks. So every single decision you've ever made in your life has led up to this moment. Now it's time for me to decide. Are ducks really worth it? Be sure to comment your answer down below, but I'll see mine. Depends on which way you look at it. The score I'd give a duck right now is about 89 out of 100, so yes, they are definitely worth it, as long as your city allows it, and you're fine with picking up a lot of messes. You need a lot of responsibility, as does come with a lot of other animals. The trilogy was 100% worth the wait, man. I cannot wait for another. Wait, the ending was quite ambient, I must say. Well, I guess gotta enjoy some chicken videos, or, you know what, let's just go to bed for another 504 hours, I don't know. Alright, and with that, be sure to click the video on the screen right now. I'm hoping to reach 4,000 hours soon anyways. I am out. Subscribe.